Namaste, everyone, and welcome to the Goddess of the Week. I am your goddess mentor, Anjali, and I'm here today to offer a little bit of wisdom and healing and blessing for everyone here this week that would really love to do it love to have a lot more prosperity and love and peace and abundance in your life this week. So I'm just gonna wait for a few people to just come on. Namaste, Bridget, nice to see you. And of course, as always, every week I love to channel the essence of the many faces of the goddess through makeup and symbolism. And just one of the things about Goddess Lakshmi, and this really represents into the coloring that I'm wearing today, which is green and red. So I have a lot of green going on and some red going on. And for the symbolism of the colors of red, because Lakshmi is normally seen in a red sari, and the red sari, which is the dress that's wrapped around her, symbolizes vitality, which is like life force energy, and having prosperity or an abundance and feeling prosperous in that vitality and that energy to get things going. And with her green sari, because sometimes she's also depicted with the green sari, so the green color actually symbolizes fertility and abundance. So when we think of planet Earth, or if we were to just go hover out in space and look at the Earth, it's really green and blue, and the landmass being green, and green as in all the plants and the vegetations and the flora just being abundant in nature. So just to let you know why I've decided to use both red and green through channeling Goddess Lakshmi this week. So what I'm gonna do is I have my notes here because it's so interesting. Goddess Lakshmi has known me before I've known myself, and most of you all know that I was born and brought up in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, and I was born into a very traditional Hindu home where my mom was actually or is actually the matriarchal power in the family, because we're a goddess culture. Namaste, Zoe, thank you for making it. I really appreciate you being here today. And my dad is actually Vedic, so, but it's beautiful to have been brought up with the both aspects of Eastern philosophies. And so my mother actually worships Mother Lakshmi. So as I said, this goddess has known me before I've known myself, because all my life my mother has her altar, her goddess altar, with many different Hindu gods and goddesses. And just from knowing myself and being able to look at images and to look at pictures, this goddess has always been there in my life. So it's very a powerful time for me, and I'm very excited. And just because I have been brought up in the Indian culture, I really tried my best with my notes today to sort of capture the essence of what is most important, so you guys can get to know Lakshmi on a very intimate level, learn how to work with her, and to be able to incorporate her. Namaste, Latoya, thank you for being here. And Devinder, namaste, nice to see you here, Devinder. And all my beautiful, amazing goddess sisters from the Goddess Empowered Member Society group, which I call us gems because we're all gems. So happy to see you guys here. And before I start with Lakshmi, it's really important because I know a lot of the Western world aren't really familiar with the Eastern culture and the concepts. And, you know, being a Westerner myself and having the fortunate opportunity to live in Canada for the past 15 years of my 34, I've been able to see both sides, being brought up in the Caribbean and being in that culture as a Indian Hindu female, and then migrating to Canada at 18 at a very impressionable age and understanding the North American culture as well. So before I introduce you to Lakshmi, it was very, very important for me to start off with Lakshmi's older sister. And her older sister, her name is Lakshmi. And Lakshmi actually means not Lakshmi, or not anything like Lakshmi. And she's known within the Hindu pantheon as the goddess of misfortune and quarrels and just everything that could possibly go wrong. And so it is said in Indian culture that Lakshmi, who is the goddess of misfortune, also comes with Lakshmi, who is the goddess of endless supply and bountiful supply. And the reason is, the symbolism for these two goddesses is to always remember that when we receive wealth, or we're asking for prosperity, or we're creating a prosperous and abundant life, to always remember there's the darker aspect to wealth, which could be greed. And this is sort of like in families where, say, parents leave an inheritance, and then the sisters and the brothers start fighting and squabbling over it because they're in the Lakshmi, which is the misfortune of not understanding the abundance that's there for everyone, right? And so in Hinduism, in order to appease Lakshmi, so you don't want to have this goddess in your home. And Lakshmi loves a home that's dirty and messy and disorganized and chaotic, and just, so when you're in that space, just know, there's times, and it happens to all of us, and even to me, where we're immersed in creative projects, and we're immersed in all these different goals and dreams and desires, and we're consciously, as goddesses, both my brothers and sisters, we're trying to create the best life possible, the most prosperous life possible, the most happiest life possible. And so if we don't have that wisdom, and we don't have that education to understand the universal laws and how they work, then we tend to get ourselves in trouble. So for me, describing Lakshmi and Lakshmi comes a little bit with Feng Shui, in the sense of energies, where Lakshmi would represent, and I'm just really trying to communicate this in terminologies that you guys can really grasp and understand, and be like, okay, that's why I'm stuck creatively, or that's why I'm blocked, or that's why I'm in a plateau and I can't get out of it, because I'm experiencing a little bit of Lakshmi, which is misfortune, because maybe my place is messy and the bills are piled up, and life happens, right? And Sonia Choquette, she has a really beautiful saying that she always says, bless your mess. And so this is where Lakshmi comes in. And Lakshmi loves a home that is clean. She loves things to be organized. If you look around your surroundings, does it reflect things that you love? Does it reflect the energy of love? Or are there things you're just holding on to for sentimental reasons? Or sometimes we hoard just in case, he's a really nice guy, just in case. I kind of made that up. So I have, just in case towels, or just in case, this, or just in case that. But it's really about simplifying your life and bringing it back to basic. And as I was channeling the energy of Lakshmi, it's really wild, because Louise Hay came in, and I really want to share this, guys, with you. It's almost like I'm just offering all these wealth of information and knowledge and books and recommendations, and I really want to do this because there is such a beautiful full feeling with generosity, which is one of the aspects of Lakshmi. And so Louise Hay has this audiobook, and I highly recommend all of you, if you can download this. It's on iTunes. I think it's on audiobooks on iTunes. That's where I've got it. and it's a nominal fee. I think it's under $10 or $20 or so, but it's so valuable in the sense that Louise Hay was able to describe Goddess Lakshmi in her audio series called Receiving Prosperity, where she talks about prosperity is not just about money. Money is one aspect of it, but are you prosperous in time? Are you prosperous in love? Are you prosperous in your relationships? Are you prosperous with having, the healthy body that you want and stuff like that? So Louise Hay, Receiving Prosperity, I really, really, really wanted to put that out there because that's so important, especially that I know there's so many brothers and sisters out there that are doing the work, and not just doing the work on a physical level, but doing the work on a spiritual level in order to clean up your energies and clean up your vibration and to align with that vibration. So I'm so honored this week we're getting to really get to know Lakshmi and align with that prosperity vibration that she brings with her. And Namaste, Vali, nice to see you. And to really benefit from it. And one of the things that Lakshmi actually said to me was the fact that it's almost like when you look at her symbol, she has this pot of gold that's just pouring out to us, and her hands, the gold is just coming out of the palms of her hands, and the gold coins represent total prosperity, that there's enough for all. And as Louise Hay said in her Receiving Prosperity audiobook, which I've been meaning to listen to, I haven't listened to it in a really long time, but enough that I remember a lot of it because it's just such a wise piece of body of work that can really, really help you guys in building your prosperity. And Louise Hay, there was something she talked about, if you want to show the universe that you would like to have more, you need to do some sort of change in energy and change in vibration. So little things like opening up your fridge, there's all these different sauces in mine. And it's like, do I really need all these sauces? Or, can I throw some out? Or there's some leftovers, and just little things like that. Go into your closet. If you've not used clothes for the last year or two, Mom, sorry for saying this, but my mom, I think she's has stuff for like the last 25 years or so, how do I put this? It's her sentimental reasons, I guess, mostly. And I'm just amazed with the amount of shoes that she has, but she never wears them. So simple things like that, just giving and donating, even selling the things that you no longer use, just to keep the circle of prosperity going. So with my notes, as I always like to share, Goddess of the Week, Lakshmi, she symbolizes prosperity, abundance, and good fortune. And she is the Shakti, or as I translated Shakti in English, means the goddess, or the life force, the power force of the goddess that actually transforms dreams into reality. And the way she does this is because of her name. Her name, Lakshmi, actually represents aim or goal. So it's nice to have all these big, bold, beautiful dreams and visions and stuff like that. But if we don't set goals and we make that decision, hey, you know what? Example for me right now, one of my goals is working through with creating my Oracle deck. And this is such a cool experience for me because even though I know it would have been back in 2006 or 7, I had an affinity with tarot cards since I was 16 or 17, and I would go to this amazing store called the World's Biggest Bookstore and just buy all these different tarot decks, more so for the artwork and just the different ways of expressing the different cards and stuff like that. And I actually self-taught myself tarot for 8 years, and they're really highly accurate. And so for me, from that, just being an artist myself, because I studied art in high school and I love English literature and writing, and I'm talking to you and there's a red ladybug that just flew on my chair here. So that's cool. Ladybug, good luck. And it's really interesting that back in 2006 or 7, I had this dream of wanting to create my own oracle deck, and or tarot deck. It was a tarot deck at that time because I wasn't yet exposed to oracle decks, only 2 years later, mind you. Sorry, a year later, because it would have been 2 years, yeah, 2006, 2007, 2008, because 2008 was when I found Doreen Virtue's Goddess Guidance deck. So, and so for me, I didn't really think much of it. It was just like, wouldn't it be nice if I created something like this? And so many years passed by. We're talking about 2006, 2008, so almost 10 to 12 years later. And here I am, where life has put me through so many different situations and circumstances, and going back to school and being educated more into my awareness of who I am and what I'm here to do. And so now I'm in the process of creating this beautiful deck that and it's a reality. So it's just really the decision and goal setting. And my goal for this deck is to be able to come out for Christmas, so everyone can give these gifts to every goddess sister and brother they know for Christmas, and it's going to be awesome. So it's really about setting goals, right? In the sense of, for 10 years I did not pursue this because it was not a goal. It was just a dream. So I really want you guys to just think about all the things you always fantasize about, and it's repetitive. And that's what Lakshmi wants you to know. It's your true dream when it keeps constantly coming at you over and over and over. And now she wants to help you to set goals to be able to reach those goals. And one of the most beautiful stories that I had, and a lot of you would have known that a little bit about my past, and I was actually a drug addict about 10 years ago, and I worked in the sex industry as a professional dominatrix at that time. And then at my lowest point, I was just completely obliviated and annihilated with drugs, and then I was a call girl. And from that, I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I really knew at that point that God didn't make me to do what I was doing. I just knew it was not the right path for me. And so I had to quit. And mind you, I made a lot of money in that industry. I mean, we're talking, $1,000 a day, tens and tens of thousands of dollars on a weekend and such. But I was willing to walk away from all that money, because even though I had the physical money, or the prosperity on the physical plane, my entire soul and spirit and mental and emotional realms were so depleted, and I was so destitute spiritually. So for me, that was a huge risk, and I didn't know where I was going to get money from. I remember going on welfare, I think, for about 5.5 months. And at this time, I was already studying spiritual work while I was a call girl and a drug addict. Mind you, I would be going on dates and meetings and stuff in the nighttime, and in the daytime I would be studying Asking It As Given and Opening to Channel, and so you can heal your life, and all these amazing books, right? And anyway, so I walked away, and I decided to take that risk and go on welfare for 5.5 months. And my first paycheck, it was really interesting how the universe really helps too, because I had this girlfriend of mine that said, everything you say always happens. Like, maybe you should be a psychic or something. And I just brushed it off at that time. And she actually came back with me with this solid online psychic site and said, here, Angeli, I really think you should do this. Like, you should really help people. And so for me, what I carried over from the sex industry into the spiritual industry was my love for connecting with people and getting intimate with people, in the sense of listening to, it was not just sexual, and sometimes there was no sex at all. And it was just really intimacy and connecting and listening to their problems and what was torturing them and what was hurting them, and how can I give them that love and that healing, or that answer or solution. So I was already a counselor dollar, if you want to put it that way. And so I remember my first paycheck being $75, okay? And that's the thing about setting goals and prosperity as well. If it doesn't happen all at once, you don't give up. You have to have that faith, and you have to have that courage, and you have to have that passion and that love to want to keep going, and knowing that you're here to do something really awesome in the world. And until you've gotten to that point and you're living your dream awake, there's no giving up, at least for me and for the clients that I communicate with and my tribe and friends and family. This is just my philosophy from how I was able to go from darkness into light, if we want to put it that way. And so I kept studying, and different books would come to me, and different spiritual teachers would come to me, and I would reinvest my money as the months go by into studying, became an angel therapist, became an angel therapy medium, Chios energy healer, advanced law of attraction coach, and I kept going and investing until I think it was under 2 years I was able to break through and then create a 6-figure business in within that time, within 24 months, from switching over from welfare to doing all of this. So it's possible. Prosperity is possible. So it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, or if you're even looking to make a career change. That's really huge. And I mean, I love sharing my stories just to show you guys, hey, you know what? If I can make a switch career from being a dominatrix and a call girl that was a drug addict, that was just a complete mess, into evolving myself 10 years later into a goddess mentor and teacher and guide and spiritual healer and spiritual teacher and influencer, you can do anything you want to do, and that's really what Lakshmi is about. So I just want to share so her sacred number, there's just a little, her symbols, her gemstones, and little fun facts about Lakshmi so you can work with her. Her sacred number is the number 8. So 8 is also the number of legacy and business and prosperity and wealth and success. If we were to just turn the 8 on the downside to the side, we're going to get the infinity. So 8 kind of represents the flow of abundance, but just laying down instead of standing up, the infinity, and then the 8. Her special day of worship is on Friday, and she's also associated with the planet Venus, which is the planet of wealth and luxury. So I highly recommend, if you truly want to do some work and break some barriers with your prosperity, because for me, my goal now is, hey, I've set my goal. I wanted to achieve a 6-figure income, which I did. And now my next goal is, hey, can I do this for 7 figures or 8 figures or 9 figures? Because the truth is, we have a bunch of budding millionaires and multi-millionaires and billionaires within our community without even knowing that yet. And the truth is, as we're evolving, the value of money is, where there was just so extreme poverty and slavery. And just to know, for you guys to note, my lineage is 175 years. I'm here 175 years later because of my forefathers from India taking that journey from India to Trinidad and Tobago in 1845 to work as indentured laborers, or what we like to say, paid slaves. So, and then 175 years later, I am an offspring that's living in Toronto, just like enjoying all these like amazing luxuries, right? So anything is possible. It's really up to you to set that goal, to have that aim and set that goal and decide, listen, you know what? This is what I'm going to go for. And the other thing too, so on Fridays, if you would love to, whenever you guys do your financial planning, I'm not too sure, if you want to work with Lakshmi, especially if you're opening up a business, I'm opening up a new business right now where I'm transforming from just a psychic reader card reader into an actual spiritual teacher and healer, and he helping both men and women to connect with their Shakti and to connect with that inner goddess power, and to be able to live from that and to create freely and unapologetically, right? Which is so cool. I'm really getting into my element here. And so if you guys are opening up a business, or you're looking for a job advancement, or you just want to create some more money or more time or a new career, whatever it is, on Fridays would be the best day for you to do your planning around your financial planning and your prosperity planning. That's just a tip for you guys. So the essence of Lakshmi, and the thing I want for everyone to know is, like, the goddess, she is that essence, and she's that energy, and the many faces of the goddess. This is actually how Lakshmi showed this to me today while meditating. She said, imagine the goddess is the ocean, and the many faces of the goddesses. So we say for Lakshmi this week, or Mawu, or Yamanya, or Ocean, or Aphrodite. It doesn't matter what face of the goddess. They're like waves in the ocean, right? So the stories and the myths and the legends from all different cultures, all over the world, through all different civilizations, was there for us to remember the essence of who we really are, and to be unapologetic for expressing those. Because a lot of us are born with being programmed. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. You're only this. You're only so much. You're never going to get that. So we really want to kind of clean up our energy vibration this week. And we want to really invite Lakshmi in. And these are the essences, the essence of Lakshmi. I would love for you guys to focus on these words. And I call these goddess power words. So power words are words that you mindfully use in your vocabulary, even if it's written or spoken, or if you want to sit with those words and just embody the energy and align yourself to it, it really does help. And so the essence of Lakshmi and her power words are wealth, light, wisdom, fortune, generosity. That's a huge one. Generosity, charity, courage. And she also represents the embodiment, and these words are so important, and their beauty and their grace and their love. So those are the goddess power words for Lakshmi. And Lakshmi, and this is what I love about the goddess culture and the goddess culture, and when you're learning about the goddesses and working with the goddesses, symbolism is everything, because symbolism is able to visually, when you connect with it, to invoke and evoke these feelings within you that actually helps you to uplift your vibration and connect with certain frequencies in order to allow things that you want to come to you. Because remember, the goddess energy is about being receptive and allowing, not the versus the masculine energy, which is about going out and conquering things and getting it done. So there are the four, and now for Lakshmi, as I said again, it's not just about money, even though money is a very important aspect in our day-to-day life, especially in the year 2018, and just the way the system is set up, the financial system, not just within your country, but globally as well, right? Everything's online, everything's instant and stuff like that. So she represents the four virtues of prosperity. And the first one is Dharma, which is your sacred duty. It's you being prosperous in fulfilling and attaining and achieving the thing, that sacred purpose you're here to do. The second one, I believe, is Atra, which is material wealth. So what are your material dreams? How much money would you like to have in the bank account? Would you like 100,000? Would you like 1 million? Would you like a few million? Would you like 1 billion? Would you like none? Would you like $500? Would you like to have one home? Would you like to have multiple homes? Would you like to travel? Are there certain jewelry or shoes or clothes? So this would be the whole material aspect of it. The third one is Kama, and Kama which is, you know, from the word Kama Sutra, which is the science of love or the science of desire. Kama is being able to be prosperous with your desires. When you look at the things that you truly desire and the experiences that you truly desire in your life, are they matching up? Or are you still experiencing a contrast where there's things that you really desire and then you're feeling the fear and the limitation and the constriction and the poverty of not having it, right? And then the fourth one, she represents moksha. And moksha translates to liberation. And for me, I like to go a little bit further and say liberation in the sense of freedom, right? You're free to be yourself. You're not living out what mommy said to do, or you're not living out what dad said to do, or what society says to do, or you're not living out through peer pressure or wanting to people please. You have complete, absolute, you're prosperous in the freedom of being yourself and just saying what you need to say, sharing your story as it is, not caring if you're going to be judged or whatever people have to say. That would be their stuff, where you're completely in yourself and you're loving it, right? So that's really cool. So the other thing too, the 4 virtues of prosperity that I just listed, I also want to look at that from the sense of your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual. So on a physical level, are you prosperous in strength? Is your body strong enough? Do you have the mental agility and stamina to focus and see things through, right? Your physical health. How is your physical health? For me, I just signed up for a gym. I'm starting to work out again. My baby is now, I believe, 16 or 17, going on 17 months. And I gained some extra weight through my pregnancy, which is fine. But now I want to feel more prosperous in my physical body and to be able to dance harder and vibrate and just transmute energy on a longer level, dance for a longer time, where now if I'm dancing, it's awesome when I do dance, but I can remember the times as a professional dancer, as a teenager, doing temple dancing, we would be rehearsing for like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. So I would love to have that physical strength that I'm just sharing with you guys as I'm going along. And then you have your material wealth, of course, which is your bank account, bank balances, properties. I love people to think in the term of net worth instead of savings and checkings and different stuff. You want to look at your net worth and what do you want your net worth to be. Okay. Mental, we want to look at, are we prosperous in peace? Right? There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of money and they're going cuckoo. They don't know how to just be and how to just enjoy, and it's never enough, or they just want more, or, you know. Namaste, Joy. Thanks for coming in. Namaste, Wahida. Nice to see you. And happiness. Are you prosperous in happiness? Are you, do you have a positive attitude, or do you get up most days like, oh shit, you know, or you don't have that clarity, or you don't have that, attitude of gratitude, really is what it is. And the other thing here is inner harmony. Are you prosperous in inner harmony? For example, when life happens, are you just reacting to stuff? I knew I was really huge on that, and I'm so happy that I'm just in this space of spiritual maturity, and maybe it comes with age maturity as well, where I just let things roll off my back. I don't react anymore. I just collect my thoughts, collect my feelings, and speak truthfully and honestly and share how I feel when people do certain things. And then my favorite, which is what I call Ananda. And Ananda means like bliss. So for me, are you prosperous in bliss? Because when you're in a blissful state, you could do anything, really, right? And so on a spiritual level, actually, I'll do emotional first. On an emotional level, are you prosperous in joy? Are you prosperous in fulfillment? Are you prosperous with the feelings of contentment, with grace, with pleasure? Do you allow yourself a lot of pleasure, or are you just stressing about everything and just not too sure what to do? And then on the spiritual level, spiritual prosperity, it's selflessness. Do you have an abundance of time to be able to give back to people that are less fortunate than you, or to just give back to your family or your friends and such? Are you prosperous in kindness, or are you a mean person, right? Being rich and having a lot of money and treating people like shit is not prosperity. You know, that's a huge one. There's a lot of people out there like that, but you know what? There's also a lot of people out there that have achieved that financial wealth at the level that they would like to, but they're even richer in their kindness and their charity and their goodwill. And selfless service and charity, and those would be for the spiritual side of prosperity. And so the symbols, which is what we work with a lot in my goddess group, symbolism and gemstones, those are like the two cornerstones for really invoking goddess energy and working with it. And her symbols are the white owl, it's white elephants, the lotus, the swastika, and the swastika sign. I have to take a breath here just because Hitler really messed that one up for planet Earth. The swastika is actually a symbolism of good fortune and good luck, but it also represents purity. And Hitler was actually in the occult, believe it or not. And so that's why Hitler decided to take the swastika and turn it into his symbol as he was doing what he was doing, because his intention or motive under whatever mindset he was in at that time was to purify the races and to just have the pure Aryan race. So that's where the swastika came in with Hitler. But for Lakshmi, the swastika represents good luck and fortune. So even a simple thing like you're feeling constricted, you're a little bit worried, you're in a little bit of fear, you're not too sure how your business is going to work out, or if you're going to get that promotion or whatever it is, you just draw on your notebook a little swastika and put 4 dots on the 4 corners of it. And just by doing that, you actually release energy, and then you get to invoke this good fortune and good luck energy. Gold coins is another symbol of hers. Cowrie shells, rice, and the symbolism of Shri and Om. So if you know what the Om sign looks like and then the Shri sign looks like, I'm going to be posting up these symbols, of course, in the Goddess Empowered Members Society, which is my goddess group. As I said, we call ourselves GEMS, Goddess Empowered Members Society. We're GEMS because we are all gems. We just, most of us forget it sometimes, right? And so with the lotus, I wanted to expand on the symbolism. So the reason the lotus is a symbol for her is because the lotus represents creation, it represents beauty, it represents harmony, and it also represents stability and support, right? So when we think about the lotus coming out of the muddy water, which is all the shit that happens in life, but then we're here and we have this spiritual support, right? Where we're just not going to get pulled down into the drama, or we're not going to get pulled down into the crap or the murky waters. We're going to choose to stay here. And every day it's for me, sometimes it's a struggle, but most times now I'm really happy to just, sit on my lotus. Yeah, I'm just sitting on my lotus of spiritual support. The elephant represents royalty, represents loyalty, and represents strength. And another fun fact, just because the elephants popped up, if you guys know of the elephant god Ganesh, he is actually the remover of obstacles. And in most Hindu households, before we worship Lakshmi, it's actually threefold. We worship Ganesh because he's the god that removes obstacles, to help us remove whatever obstacles we have right now that we're currently challenged by or struggling with regards to our prosperity that we're trying to create. Then we actually pray to Saraswati because she's the goddess of wisdom. So we need to get our obstacles removed. We need to be able to have the wisdom imparted onto us. And then we pray to Lakshmi for the good fortune and the money and the prosperity and all of that stuff. Because without wisdom, we can get a whole bunch of money. It doesn't necessarily mean we have the wisdom to use it with in the right way, right? So the owl, her vahana, or which is called her vehicle, because goddesses don't do anything by themselves. We have all these cool animals and symbols and gods and angels to help us out. The owl represents fearlessness because it's a nocturnal animal and it has the ability to see through the dark. And it also represents auspiciousness and wisdom, because if you were to just have a huge fortune without the wisdom of knowing what to do with it, and again, the right way of use, it can be misused. And just look at all the corruption, again, that happens with wealth when you don't have the wisdom and the spiritual elements of prosperity to balance that, right? Gold coins for Lakshmi just represents total prosperity when you think about gold coins. Now, a cool thing that we actually do is the women, Hindu women, Indian women, or just women in general from any other culture that truly connect with Goddess Lakshmi and want to keep her. We actually get a little sack, like a little bag, a little pouch, kind of like a tarot pouch, or you can get a little bowl and you put some rice grains in there, and you put some little beans or dried beans, things that are not perishable, and then you drop in some coins in there or some dollars in there, and you tuck that away into your kitchen cupboard, because it's a representation that you're always going to have enough money and enough food to feed your family. So that comes from the archetype of being a wife and being that provider for your children and for your husband or your boyfriend or your beloved. It doesn't matter, just in that role, right? So out of all these cool things we can pray for, it's actually said the greatest gift that Lakshmi can actually bestow upon you is the deliverance. She delivers you from fear. And it is said that fear is caused by unfulfilled desires. So like a mother, if you've conceived and you're going to have a baby, there's a gestation period, but we go through these fears, like, is the baby okay? Like, am I going to make it through the 9 months? And I'm just using this as a metaphor, really. And so there's all these fears because the desire of the baby actually being birthed hasn't happened yet. So there's a lot of fear that happen when your desire is not birthed into the world, when you're not seeing the amount of money you want in your bank account yet. And I've been very impatient with that because I know I'm like this master manifester that manifests stuff all the time, right? Or it could be another one for me. It would be like, I'm not that size 10 that I used to be yet. So there's this fear sometimes, even though I'm dancing and I'm working out and I'm starting to eat healthier, there's this fear of, oh my God, am I really going to get that body back, right? So what Lakshmi does when you pray with her is she removes all those fears of that, because again, the best thing you can have is your mind being in this blissful state where everything is possible and everything is going to happen. You're fearless. You're completely fearless. And that's like the biggest gift and the biggest blessing, right? And so Lakshmi, she represents the splendor, radiance, and infinite abundance that flows from the divine. And yeah, it is said, and this was really cool, and I really wanted to share this because this is going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people. It is said that Lakshmi does not make any value judgments. So she doesn't judge value. So in the sense of, for example, she says there's a bowl of rice. It doesn't matter if a saint is eating that bowl of rice or a sinner is eating that bowl of rice. It's still a bowl of rice. Nothing makes it more or less. And it's the same way she says, if you were to have $1, that dollar does not increase in value in the hands of, let's say, a judge or a celebrity. And that dollar does not decrease in value, let's say, in the hands of a convict or just some regular person on the street. $1 remains $1 and a bowl of food remains a bowl of food, right? And for some of us, we get that mixed up sometimes, you know, with our value, thinking we're less than and people are more than based on what they show on the outside and stuff like that. So Lakshmi, again, her sacred number is the number 8. And this also represents 8 forms of prosperity. So when we're praying, we don't just want to pray for the moolah or the dough or the dinero or the money. We want to be able to be prosperous and have an abundance of all these different aspects, which are creativity, stability, courage, strength, prosperity. And I'm always so happy about that. As a woman, I always say, I've procreated. Yes, I've got 2 daughters. I've procreated. Victory, knowledge, and wealth. All these are essential for us as we move forward in our lives in creating what it is that we desire. And so a cool thing actually happened, and I'm just looking for that piece of paper. Here it is. So as I was channeling Goddess Lakshmi for this Facebook Live, a lot of you would know that I'm an angel therapist. I actually studied under Adoring Virtue, and so my affinity and communication of working with archangels and angels and guides and such, it's really clear and it's really powerful, and I really love that I have that gift to actually speak to archangels and angels. It's so cool. And without even bringing in the angels into this, because this was actually a goddess of the week, I had a magnificent visitor who was Archangel Ariel. And so Archangel Ariel is actually the archangel of prosperity. And if you were to see a symbol of her, she actually carries like a cornucopia, and she has all these like gold coins, and she's just walking around with, you know, all this prosperity. And so she comes through and she basically says, I really, really want for you to share, not just with Lakshmi, because the thing is, we think the goddesses are separate and the angels are separate and guides are separate and the ascended masters are separate, and it's not true. We're all connected. They're all here to help us, and we're all going to be guided to exactly the archangel or the spirit guide or the ascended master or the goddess or even God. We're going to be, or gods, we're going to be guided to based on what we need to learn and what we need to do. So Archangel Ariel actually came through, and her name actually means the lioness of God. So she represents courage, which works well with Lakshmi, because Lakshmi's greatest gift to you is to be able to deliver you from fear and for you to be fearless and full of passion and inspiration and knowledge and wisdom and all these resources that you would need to just propel yourself through without any blockages and without any obstacles, so to speak, right? And so here Archangel Ariel, she's really funny. She really wants everybody that's listening to this video, like, come on, like, don't just think about it or talk about it or hope for it. Like, set your goals. We're here. We're a part of the universe. Our job is to bestow prosperity, anything you want. So when you don't ask for it, and that's what she was kind of showing, a lot of people are still doing it on their own and trying to do it all on their own and stressing about it and straining about it, when all you have to do is ask, right? And so she really wanted to come in and say, hey, I would really love to work with a lot of people, Archangel Ariel, if you are interested. And there's this one fantastic book on angels that I completely enjoyed in my novice years learning about angels, and it's called Everything You Need to Know About Angels, and she's in there. And I believe the book is written by Karen Palino, who happens to be an angel therapist as well. And it's a brilliant book. So if you have an affinity to archangels and working with archangels as well, I highly recommend that book for you. And so Archangel Ariel came in and she was just like so funny. Here am I walking around this universe with my cornucopia and everybody's stressing out, trying to figure it out by themselves. And in a way, if we were to express her as a human, even though she's not, but her personality, it hurts her to not give. It hurts the universe to look at you squelch yourself out of your connection and out of your flow. Just imagine when you're giving to somebody and you have this beautiful gift or you have this beautiful service and you just want to share with this person because you know you're going to enrich their lives and you're going to make their lives better. And they're like, oh no, well, you know, I don't want to because, you know, my parents told me I have to, and everybody said my whole life I need to struggle, so this rich, abundant thing, you know, that's not for me. And mind you, that's how I used to be because, as I said, I grew up in the Caribbean in a third world country in the countryside in a 10 by 13 boarded house with dirt floors and outhouses and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I know what poverty is. I know what poor is, at least in the material sense, because I will tell you as a child, I never felt poor at all. I thought I was a princess, just the way I was treated by my grandparents, especially, who were like the greatest wealth to me in my life, learning all their culture and principles and values, which I carry on today, and I'm passing on to my children as well. And she really wants people to start opening up and asking. And she said, and this is, and I wrote this down because I really wanted to express it in the exact way that was given to me. And she said, it's not about, is there abundance and prosperity available for you? There's no question about that. And most of us still question that when we're in our old paradigms of poverty or not enoughness. You know, oh, is there enough abundance out there? There's trillions of dollars floating around there. There's 8 billion people out there. If you were to open yourself and ask for help, somebody would be there to help you. And actually, in the Everything You Need to Know About Angels book, they talk about angel investors. And angel investors are people that come into your life that believe in you and will invest in you. And this actually happened with me. As I said, back when I was starting up my business, I really wanted to be an angel therapist, and I had to fly out to Hawaii and have a certain amount of money. At that time, I didn't. And I just knew it was going to happen, and I had faith, and I worked with my angels constantly on it, and I did the work, and I believed. And a month before this program was due in Hawaii, I had a client that came to me and said, you know, Angeli, I have a gift for you. And, you know, just from my past, it's like, okay, well, can I ask what this gift is? And he said, you know what? I've done a few sessions with you now, and you were just so remarkable and mind-blowing with the things that you've done and the perspective that you've given to me on life that I can't even thank you enough. And I really, really believe, and honestly, I did not share my desire and my goal of wanting to go study and be an angel therapist in Hawaii because I wanted anything. I just shared it with my client because I was just so freaking excited about it and wanting to do it. And this client said to me, I believe if you were to go to Hawaii and you were to be an angel therapist, and you were to complete this program, you would benefit so much more people, Angeli, that I would love to pay for your airfare to Hawaii, and I would love to pay for your hotel accommodation for the full week that you need to be there. All you need to do is pay for your program and just your spending money and such. And I remember saying to my client, I'm gonna hang up the phone now, just give me 30 seconds, 40 seconds, I'll call you right back. And I hung up the phone and I went on top of my bed and I just started jumping like I was in a freaking trampoline. I could not even imagine there was people out there with that kind of generosity that not only they were just paying me for the value of the sessions that I was giving to them, but they were willing to gift me thousands of dollars more in order to pursue my dreams. And I really wanted to share that story just so you guys understand that this is a very generous and a very abundant world. And a lot of us are living in this nightmare that's just the illusion, or what they call the Maya. And we really need to like wake up and realize that, right? And so she says, again, it's not about is there abundance and prosperity available to you. Archangel Ariel wants to ask you. She's posing you this question. And I love the fact that she butted into my Goddess of the Week. And she's like, are you available for the abundance and the prosperity that is in this universe? Are you available? And she says, if no, ask yourself why. And when you ask yourself why, all these stories and all these beliefs and all this stuff, which chances are, if you were to get deeper into it, it's not even your stuff. That's why it's like now. And then she says, if you are available to abundance, how are you showing up every day? How are you showing the universe you are available for the abundance and prosperity that's out there? And then she says, how can you become even more available to prosperity? And this is so important that I want to repeat that again, which is this message from Archangel Ariel, who is the Archangel of Prosperity. And she says, it is not so much about is there abundance and prosperity available for you, but are you available for the abundance and prosperity that it is you're asking for? And that's so huge, right? So what I'm going to do is I have the Doreen Virtue Goddess Guidance deck, and this is the Lakshmi card. And she says here, stop worrying. Everything is going to be okay, right? See her there? There, let's Lakshmi give you guys a kiss. Mwah. Because a lot of us need it. We were so hard on ourselves, right? And I'm just going to pull one card, because what I do have, my system of healing, it's actually called Goddess Care. And Goddess Care is really simple. It's coming in, and we're going to specifically tap into you, tap into your aura, your energy, and we're going to find out how do you need to care for your inner goddess in order to bring you to that vibration frequency level, in order to manifest your big bold dreams and live your dreams awake, instead of just dreaming about it and detesting your life, your day-to-day life, right? Thank you, Joy. I really feel I'm in my element. As that I'm shuffling, I'm asking for the highest good. I'm saying, goddesses, how do we need to goddess care as a collective? How do all of us, both my goddess brothers and sisters, what do we need to do this week in order to bring in, not just working with the symbolisms and working with the gemstones, ooh, I don't think I did the gemstone. So I'm going to do that actually, I'm going to do that now. So her gemstones are, and I'm wearing one of them, which is peridot. And she also loves pearls. Citron is another one, and actually there is Lakshmi right here on my altar, and I have the citron with the candle there for her. And I'm sorry about the crayon marker on my wall. That's my kiddos doing that. They did that today. And anyways, and so pearl, peridot, red coral, citron. Specifically, if you are a merchant, a trader, or a business person, you want to work with malachite. That's the gemstone to work with. For me personally, just working with Lakshmi, I like to do the pearls and peridot combination. For me, that's just the two gemstones that really emulate the essence of Lakshmi and prosperity, in the sense that the pearl represents purity and wisdom and everything that's spiritual and of light. And the peridot with the green represents the hue of abundance, which is green, which is our earth. That's just personally for me. You can have your combination. Red corals, like, really good as well, and malachite. And so the goddess that I chose, and I was just shuffling just to ask, how can we all goddess gear this week in order to to tap into that flow of prosperity and bringing all these different forms and levels of prosperity. And the goddess I received for all of us is the goddess Kali. And she says, endings and beginnings. And she says here, the old must be released for the new to enter. And this is Kali. And this is so true, because and what it is, essentially Kali is basically saying here, because when I look at Kali energy, Kali came to me and she's like, listen, I'm like demolition girl, right? If you have a piece of property and you have like a dilapidated house and it's beyond renovation, there's nothing you can do to save it, you call Kali Construction, and I come in and I demo that entire building, which gives you this clean, clear slate for you to build anything that you want to build. And so what Kali wants us, I call her demolition girl. So what she wants us to clear and to get rid of, which kind of goes back to Louise Hay, and I really, really, really would love for a lot of you to listen to that audiobook called Receiving Prosperity by Louise Hay. It's about throwing away your beliefs about prosperity, throwing away, releasing beliefs about your worthiness, right? And thank you, Kali. And there's this, it's really interesting because I'm actually wearing this bracelet right now. And in Indian culture, we love to give a lot of gifts that we give is gold to each other, to family members, grandmothers, granddaughters, mothers, sister, brothers, like that. Namaste, Julie. Nice to see you. And when I was 25 years old, my parents bought me this really thick, beautiful golden bracelet that I'm wearing right now. This is like an Indian design. And I felt so unworthy. Just imagine my past, drugs and promiscuity and all of this stuff. And I mean, I was really honest with my parents, and it was really tough for them as a very traditional East Indian family, or I should say my parents, that grew me up with so much values and virtues and morals, to kind of see their daughter get into that lifestyle. But I was able to come out of it, and just because they had their daughter back and it was my birthday and they wanted to show their love and just appreciation for me being alive, because a lot of people that lived my lifestyle in the past, not a lot of them are alive to talk about it or to share their story. And I felt so unworthy that I asked my mother to keep this golden bracelet for me for 5 years, until I was 30 years old. I finally felt worthy enough to wear this golden bracelet. So, and it's almost like Kali coming through here and saying, this is how we feel as the divine mother. The mother doesn't matter what you've done in your life. Like, your mother is unconditional love. You're always going to have an abundance of opportunities to keep being better. And there's this saying that I have, and I think it just came because of the experience of my life, and I've heard it somewhere. And the saying says, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. And this is really what Kali is embodying. It doesn't matter if you think you're a sinner or you've done wrong things, or a big one for me would be like, oh, I fucked up my life. What am I going to do now? And that was like 10 years ago. Well, I've done a lot, and I'm really proud of myself. And I want a lot of you to do the same thing and be really proud of yourself too. So this week, it's all about when we're creating our prosperity and our prosperous life and full of abundance of everything we need, and all these creepers start coming in, Kali is like, time to slice them away. They no longer work for you anymore. And then that's the conscious choice. Are you going to choose to want to feel poor and feel destitute and feel restricted and feel caged and constricted and stressed? Or are you willing to release all of that old stuff which no longer works? And are you willing to feel expansive and feel freedom and feel joy and experience the flow of money in your bank account, or abundance of clients, or abundance of creative projects, or traveling around the world, or whatever your big, bold, abundant, prosperous dream looks like, right? So I just want to say thank you so much for everybody that's here tonight live. Also, for all of my brothers and sisters that are going to be watching the recording, thank you too for joining in. And all the action happens right now in the Goddess Empowered Member Society group, which is the Gem Society, or Gems. That's my goddess group, where I will be expanding more on the symbols and the gemstones. And I love to ask very provoking, soul contemplative questions for you to be able to go in. And it's really amazing because we have a bunch of beautiful people that really just want the same thing, not just for ourselves, but for each other. So I highly recommend that you guys go in and join that group, and you can basically hang out with me, I guess, and my lovely tribe and each other. And last thing, and this is something with my whole prosperity thing too, where it's like, we have this old way, at least for me, because I've realized I'm a very ancient soul. So I'm used to many, many, many years of being a healer, or being a prophetess, or an oracle, or a medicine woman in hundreds of years ago, where we didn't have businesses and we didn't have websites and we didn't have to advertise and promote, because we were just taken care of by the community for the services that we offer. And I know a lot of you are feeling that way as well, where it's this sense of like being uncomfortable. Now we're in this completely different lifestyle of having to do businesses and stuff like that. And so for me, one of my things that I'm completely releasing is this need where I don't advertise myself. And I'm like, all the right people always find me and such. But then, Lakshmi sort of like, hey, Anjali, if you don't let people know who you are and what you do, how are they supposed to know to come to you to be able to get that help? So I've created this fantastic, wonderful, beautiful website, and it's called www.angelidavy.com. I do have one-on-one sessions where there are healing sessions where we work on you, and I do have mentoring path, really doing some deep dive in your goddess path and wanting to know more about yourself in that essence. So thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I truly appreciate all of your time and all of you. And I hope I was able to touch and inspire and get you guys thinking in big, bold, bright, beautiful ways and just opening yourself up to prosperity. And one of the things that I love to do, which is from this very beautiful, prosperous woman that just transitioned, who is Louise Hay, is just open up my arms and say, I am open and receptive to all good. And I would really love for everybody to do that. Just be crazy with me and open up your arms. Woohoo! I am open and receptive to all good. Namaste, everybody. Love you guys. See you next week for the next Goddess of the Week. Take care and bye-bye.